Hello, Braves country. It's Coach Ken Anderson coming to you for Hardcore Braves, and we got the crew, and we jumping in here on trade deadline talk number 7. And the reason why is because we do them on Thursday. We had a rain out tonight, and trade is deadline is Monday. So we're gonna jump in here and see how everybody's doing. Andrew, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, Ken. Sucks that the Braves don't get Chris Sale or get to see a Chris Sale tonight, but we're good.
Ryan, I don't know about that. I was kind of glad they called the game early enough so we didn't get a Chris Sale 2 inning start again. How about you?
Yeah, I was completely okay with them calling the game tonight. The Braves needed it. They're a little worn out in this 17 game stretch they got going on, so it didn't hurt my feelings at all. Especially since I just got back from a long drive. I needed to rest too.
Yeah, this might be the tired trade deadline talk. We're all exhausted today. Aaron, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. And yeah, I'm kind of happy for the unexpected off day. I think they need it. I think the bullpen definitely needs it. So, doubleheader tomorrow is fine with me.
Yeah, and Mr. Alicia is coming back up, and Mr. Thomas is gone. And thank you, Connor, for taking one for the team. The Mets broadcast booth put it. I think everybody felt bad for Connor, but sometimes you got to go take it. When you have a 90-mile-an-hour fastball trying to pitch in the major leagues, you sign up for that. So let's get into trade deadline talk. One good thing happened tonight, and that was the Phillies. The Phillies lost again. They're 3-8 since the break. We're up 7 in the loss column, 6 overall. Big doubleheader tomorrow against the Mets. They play day game tomorrow, and I didn't realize they're horrible in day games. I listened to the Phillies broadcast tonight, and they're really worried of getting swept in Miami. So we're going to start with there. Ryan, how do you think the Phillies and the Marlins are looking at the trade deadline? Because they're right there nip and tuck. If the Marlins do win tomorrow, let's put it this way, guys, there'll be a half game back of the Phillies for the final wild card. So what do you think, Ryan?
I still think Miami's looking at it as we're ahead of schedule. I don't know. Their offense is going to be the biggest part for them. They don't have enough thump in there, but I do like their pieces. I think they just need a little bit more. There's been word out there they may be shopping some guys. Philly, they need. There's not much that they don't need, and they could use another 4 or 5 number starter. They could use a couple bullpen arms. They definitely need another bat or two. As I always said, the Phillies are top heavy, and today they didn't have Kyle Schwarber in the lineup. And Ken, you stated that they were talking about that on the broadcast, how much noticeable it is when one of those big four are out, and they can't really afford that. So I don't know what the Phillies can do. I know they're going to probably add a bullpen arm or two, but they need a bat. They need a lot. I actually like Miami's team a little bit better than them, but I think you can see Miami selling a little bit or doing the buy and sell type deal just because they're a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they're an interesting bunch, and on the Phillies broadcast, they are just not a good team when Schwarber is out of the lineup at all. If he's in a coach streak, Aaron, what do you think about the Phillies and Marlins? They're fighting for the last wild card. What do you think? They're going to be buyers, sellers, or just stand pat?
I kind of think the Marlins are going to stand pat. They're young, and I think they're trying to develop this strong young core. I think if they, somehow get that last wild card spot, they're just going to ride with what they've got. I don't see them selling off a bunch of key pieces. Maybe they pick up some additional depth. I'm not completely sure, but I think that they'll just kind of stick it out with what they've got this year while not selling off their big pieces. And then the Phillies, like Ryan said, they need a lot. And I do think that they will attempt to get as much as they can just because of their position right now and how much they want the division and want to get into the postseason, which they will, but they want to be able to advance. They've had trouble advancing the last couple of years. So we'll see how it goes, but I definitely see the Phillies attempting to be aggressive buyers.
And I'm gonna let you be the one. It's Dave Dombrowski tonight. It's a tough situation for Dave. He never wants to settle. Here's the problem. Ryan's been on this the whole year. I got to admit it. Ryan since April has been on this. Phillies as a group, as a team, don't really have it. So they really need a lot of stuff. Your Dave Dombrowski and their farm system, as Ryan has pointed out, is I think it's like 21st ranked right now after the draft They actually went up a little bit. They were worse than that. He don't have a lot to sell either. So you're Dave Dombrowski. What are you going to do with your Philadelphia Phillies?
Um, well, knowing Dave Dombrowski, I think he's going to go out and be aggressive. But what's he going to be able to get with that farm system? To be completely honest, I mean, I think it'd be a dumb move to get rid of Crawford and then go try and get a big bat. I think he's just going to go maybe get another arm, or if I were Dave Dombrowski, another, see if I can get a right-handed bat that can put some contact in the lineup, just because they need more contact. They strike out a lot.
They really do. They don't have good swings. They have a lot of soft contact too. It's noticeable. Ryan has pointed this out. When you get five on, and now look, they did have Brandon Marson. He's terrible now. So down the stretch, they don't have anybody. So here's what the Phillies broadcast crew said tonight, and I agree with them. The Marlins can sell two pieces and still be kind of where they're at, and they can still kind of play for a playoff spot. And those two guys are Sandy Alcantara and Liam Hicks. They like the Mac kid behind the plate. Liam Hicks can hit. Mark Feinstein today wrote about that he's one of the 6 catchers out there that can be shipped. So, Ryan, Braves interest. We know Liam wouldn't be in the mix. We have a catcher. Any interest in Sandy Alcantara coming to Atlanta?
Absolutely. Look, I don't know how much it gets Sandy, but Sandy you could slide in as a number 2, and there's any given day he can go out there and just shove it up somebody's rear end. Look, I don't know his stats may not be absolutely beautiful right now, but at the same point in time, this is still Sandy Alcantara here. I will say the Liam Hicks kid, especially with the catchers kind of going down, such as Shea, he's going to bring them back a nice piece. Somebody's going to overpay to get him, and I think that's what they're looking at. They're like, this kid's as good as he's going to get. Let's go ahead and flip him because we got somebody else behind him that we like better. So the Marlins are in a really good spot. I like the Marlins positioning this deadline a whole lot better than I do the Phillies.
I do too. And the thing is they got a bonus. That's sad to see Shea go down. We love Shea tearing his meniscus, but that means Liam Hicks is going to get even more. Aaron, what do you think about Sandy to us? And you got any idea who may be interested in Liam Hicks?
I love the idea of Sandy. I always have. And typically, when it comes to interdivision trades, we historically, or AA historically, works well with the Marlins. I believe the last trade we did with the Marlins was for Adam Duvall in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And that worked out pretty well for us that year. But I've been following Sandy this year, and I would love to have him in our rotation if that's something that we could do. And I think we have the capital to offer what they would be asking without giving up too much of our prospects.
Yeah, I think she's hit on something. And one of the things that the Phillies, Andrew, broadcast crew, he's faced the Phillies 4 times tonight, and they were glad they wouldn't have to face him again. And then Ricky Bottalico said, well, wait a minute. If he gets traded to Atlanta, we're going to face him twice. He's faced him 4 times this year. He has an ERA of 1.14. Guys, that plays, Andrew. And I don't think it'll be a massive package to go get Sandy, because the Marlins would look for younger talent. They would want to go down to the Augusta Rome area. I mean, more of Augusta area, a Guanipa, a Miller, those kind of guys, because they like having a lot of control for a long time. Do you see the same thing, Andrew, about getting Sandy here?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, what can't you like about Sandy Alcantara and this pitching staff? He's kind of been a thorn in our side for so many years, and it'd be nice to have him put another thorn in the Philly side 2 more times later this September.
And here's the deal, AA. Go ahead and get him now, and he can pitch against the Marlins when we first get back home after the trade deadline. So that's the Phillies and the Marlins. They're in a tough situation, I agree. Let's jump over to 2 other teams that they can't figure out what they want to do. And one of them is the Padres. Now, Aaron, you posted the Chop House Tea. They were at the wrong game. They had just had a bad series against Atlanta. They go to Miami and sweep them. So if you're AJ Preller, who also wants to buy all the time, what are you going to do with your team? This looks like a buy and sell to me, but what about you?
Yeah, I could see it being a buy and sell. I know a lot of people are wanting them to move Mason Miller, but I just don't see them doing that. Maybe that's just me. But there are a couple of other pieces that I think they could definitely get some value for. Ty French, um, people like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And if I'm not mistaken, were the Padres scouts not also at all of the New York, the Yankees affiliates this weekend as well? So that is interesting to me. I wonder what is brewing there. Or maybe, they're just doing due diligence, like I said in my post. But it is still interesting to hear of things like this close to the deadline.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I just got a text, so I'll tell you what that's about in a minute. I think for the Padres, that's if they sell, they can send Mason Miller to New York. That's
Yeah.
they can take on Xander Bogart's contract. All right, Rhino, what do you do if you're AJ Preller?
I'm selling. I just look. If you're looking at you get in the. I've told y'all this is my philosophy for the Padres. Padres have been in the dance the last few years now. They haven't gotten past the Dodgers. Are you going to get past the Dodgers if you get in the dance? Probably not. You don't have the starting pitching. You don't have the prospect capital to go get the starting pitching and compete with other teams like the Braves, like any other team out there right now that you can definitely can't probably compete with the Dodgers farm system. So other teams that have needs in those areas, you got to try to line up your farm system. I just don't think there's matches up. But if you go ahead and sell some pieces, like a Ty France, like an Adrian Morejon, like your bullpen pieces, or a Michael King, you can replenish your farm system and really be back into contention within the next couple of years because you do have some nice pieces to build around. Jackson Merrill's there. You have Manny Machado. I know he struggled this year, but he's still a solid cornerstone piece there. You got Fernando Tatis Jr., who's one of the top 20 to 30 players in all of Major League Baseball. So, again, you got some nice pieces. If you go ahead and sell off, you get some young talent back in your system. You go out and make some off-season moves, in the free agent market. If we do have an off-season, you could be right back in contention in a year or two if you do things right. I don't think that you should go out there and tear what little bit of farm system down just to go after a shot in the dark because it would be that, a shot in the dark.
I agree with Ryan here. I think the problem they run into is the three teams that sits at the top of the National League might have the three best farm systems to do trades in the National League, and that's the Brewers, Braves, and Dodgers, Andrew. But if you're AJ Preller, I agree with Ryan and Aaron. Maybe you do a little buying and selling to make the playoffs, but not tear the whole thing down. What do you think?
Um, I, it's hard for me to say and think that AJ Preller's going to sell because I don't. That's just not really ever been in his nature. But I think to Ryan's point, it's smart because they just don't have the prospect capital, and you can get some really good pieces for France or Morejon or Wandy Peralta, even Michael King. I mean, if you want to ship us Michael King, we're wide open.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. The Phillies, I think, are going to knock down the door to get Ty France. That was a rumor coming out of there. Foul territory put it out that Bryce had his outfield glove, and that would be France to go to first base for the Phillies. That makes total sense. Of course, he could come here and be our DH as well. The other team that's kind of like they should be in the playoffs, the Padres should be in the playoffs. The other team in the American League that should be in the playoffs are the Seattle Mariners. They have a great pitching staff. They should be in the play. They have a really good closer. That's the word just come out tonight. Hancock got pulled on his start, Rhino. So interesting. They are playing the Dodgers tonight. They want a right-handed bat. The Dodgers have right-handed outfielder bats to ship. Braves fans want Hancock to come home. You just think Hancock's getting pulled because maybe he didn't warm up well. We'll go see, but Hancock would fit well here, wouldn't he?
He would, and I was seeing some tweets out there earlier today that his underlying metrics are not very good, which they don't look the best at some point, but it's going to take more than, mid-tier prospects to get a guy who's got 4+ years of control away from a team that's fighting for a playoff spot. And look, they're looking for major league ready talent. They need a right-handed stick. So if they're going to get rid of Emerson, we're going to have to give up something from the big league team. I don't know if we do that. If they would be more willing to part way with him with prospects, I think we could do that. But if the Dodgers are looking that avenue, they got a right-handed outfielder in Teoscar Hernandez. That would be a nice little reunion out there in Seattle. I don't know if Teoscar would be thrilled about it, but I know the Seattle Mariners would be happy to get that bat back in their lineup.
Yeah, and I love Emerson Hancock, but guys, we were looking for a right-handed bat. So Aaron, I don't think we have a right-handed bat to ship them. That's what they want, a major league right-handed bat. The Dodgers look like a perfect fit. What do you think about Emerson Hancock?
Yeah, I would love to have him come back home. And, his season stats are pretty decent from what I'm seeing. I don't think he's like a impact game changer to the rotation per se. Maybe I'm wrong, but the parity in the market at this point, if there's something available, it's worth looking into. So you said he got pulled from his start tonight?
Yeah, they're starting Castillo tonight. So,
That's interesting.
yeah, he's going to
And
pitch
to the
tomorrow. Is
to the
what they're
point about
he's going to
the
pitch
right.
tomorrow. So
Oh,
he's going
okay.
to pitch tomorrow. Is what they're saying.
Yeah. And yeah, with the right-handed bats, we need right-handed bats, so there's no way we can send that.
So take George Kirby off the list too, guys, because I don't see how we match up with the Mariners at all. Do you, Andrew?
No. If especially if they're searching for a right-handed bat like we are, I'm not sure we can really give you anything unless you see something in Eli White that we don't. Um, but I don't really see Emerson Hancock or really AA doing business with the Seattle Mariners.
No, we tried to do business with them one time, and that went south quick, didn't it? Jared killed it. Did not work out for us. So might be a little gun shy anyhow. All right, so the other team in the American League, now we know that it looks like they've gone into full sell mode. We actually have a pretty good relationship with some of their podcasters. The Blue Jays, they're done. I mean, they're done. Interesting tonight, Ken Rosenthal. Now, I don't put a lot into Kenny, but this one I do because I do agree with him. I don't know if Alex and the Blue Jays really want to do any deals with each other. I don't think that's like in their repertoire. I definitely don't want Gosman. I only got, really, I tell you, the only player I would want from them would be Varlin, and they're probably not going to part with Varlin. Ryan, what's your thoughts on the Blue Jays? Do they pair it with Atlanta?
Um, I mean, unless we're gonna take a shot and really eat some money on a aging George Springer to be our DH and slash left fielder, I don't really see them matching up well with us. And just to say this, I don't want George Springer. Nothing against George. You're a little bit older, and the bat's slowing down a little bit, and that happens as you get older. So I don't want to take on that contract. Like Ken said, the only guy I really would like out of them is Varland or maybe a couple of their bullpen arms. But if you go around the horn, I don't want Clement. Clement just doesn't do it for me. They Vladdy, he's not going anywhere. Kirk, we don't need a catcher. We already have three catchers in the major leagues, especially when Sean Murphy comes back. Dalton Varsho, we don't need another left-handed outfielder. We got that. So I don't see where they line up with us at all other than the bullpen. And are they going to really want to part with one of the best bullpen arms in the game of baseball? Probably not.
Let's just go ahead and stoke the fire here, Aaron. The only other guy that I can see, now we'd have to blow up our system to get him, and he's signed for a long time. Dylan Cease is out there, and he's having a good year. That would definitely be a number two. You probably wouldn't have to do anything else really to get Dylan Cease. The Braves probably would cruise to a division title. But could you see the Braves and Jays? But the only thing is a big deal. Could you see the Braves and Jays hooking up on a big deal and Dylan Cease somehow coming here?
I mean, that would be the dream,
Yeah.
obviously, but I don't see that happening. With his contract length and price, it doesn't feel very AA to me, and also it would be a huge haul. And we need to, in my opinion, the Braves need to spread their resources this deadline as much as they can and not go all in on one, big headline player and try to get some decent people with a good track record instead of, just one person while still not completely selling off the entire farm.
I agree. And, Andrew, to her point, the Braves need multiple pieces. And so when AA goes and does these deals, he can't just go all in on one. Now we'll get to that guy later. We got a big question with him coming up. We all know who that is. It's the biggest prize on the trade market. But I agree with her. I think he's going to have to allocate it so everybody Do you see like more like 3 or 4 deals that are kind of really good players, or is he going to just try to make a big splash and hope that works, Andrew?
I would go for the 3 to 4 quality player route as we need multiple positions of need, and I think we can get 3 or 4 really quality players for maybe the one potential other guy that we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and knock out this team. They've been sniffing around the Braves for a week now. Aaron, let you jump in here first. Here come the Oakland A's. We know they were going to probably sell anyhow. We already called them sellers 2 weeks ago. Shea goes down. 100% they're going to be sellers. Shea's injury is interesting because now, that'll give Jonah Heim a chance to catch most of the rest of the year, and that's going to be good for Jonah. He'll probably get a good contract out of that. And I could even see them trying to see if they wanted to add a catcher, maybe get some backup catcher. The guy everybody wants is Tyler Soderstrom. Aaron, what do you think on the A's? Who on the A's you think the Braves would be talking to them about to have their scouts coming around and look at our Rome team?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. When I saw that report about the A's being there, I was really perplexed because to me, there's not really a big fit with the A's for us besides Tyler. And didn't he just sign an extension? Am I correct in that? So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make a ton of logistical sense to me, but obviously this is a glaring need that the Braves have had for a couple of years now, and it would be a huge get if they were able to work out a deal.
Ryan, if they got him, I think first of all they could probably then trade. I'd be interested in what they would trade in there, but I think they could actually trade some other major league ready bats, whether Oakland wants them or not. And I hate to say it, but even a guy like Jarvis or somebody to go, or somebody like that that's shown they can hit in the major leagues. But Soderstrom would definitely be the bat that would make the Atlanta Braves lineup the best in probably baseball.
Yeah, Tyler Soderstrom would definitely be a much needed jolt to this lineup. I will be honest with you, I still prefer the right-handed stick just because I think we do get a little left-handed heavy with Olson, with Baldwin, with Ozzy when he's batting. Well, he's a switch hitter, but we're Yaz is in the lineup, so we tend to get a little left-handed heavy. So I would like the right-handed stick if it is out there, but as long as Soderstrom does well against both sides of the plate, arm wise, I don't see why this wouldn't work. He is also fairly young as well. He is as you can see the nice ripe age of 24. He's been getting better ever since he got into Oakland, and he's been pretty consistent the last couple of seasons. So I wouldn't hate it, but I don't know what it would cost. I don't know why they would get rid of Tyler. I really don't. It seems like they got a really nice core. I could see where they need pitching. So you'd probably see J.R. Ritchie or somebody like that go in the deal because they need pitching, but that would be about it, which is probably the avenue that the A's are thinking about.
Interesting. I forgot to ask Jesus. I don't know if y'all did, who was pitching that night in Rome when they were there, because that'd be interesting if it was Cam or not. I'm 100% would say that Eric Hart would have to go on that deal. That would be their replacement they were seeing for Soderstrom. All right, Andrew, you get the tough questions tonight. I'm giving to you all day. Is there a possibility that AA would make Braves cut? He's going to buy high on the pitching side. And he decides to buy low on the hitter side. There's a guy named Lawrence Butler whose best friend plays on the Braves, who's having a horrible year this year. And he's been better, like a little bit less than average major league player. Is that a way? And he's a left-handed bat too. But is there any way that Lawrence Butler somehow could end up in Atlanta?
I mean, I think there's a possibility, but I don't think with the way he's playing the season, and he's another left-handed bat, which we really don't need. I'm not sure there's a way AA would go get him for a need, but there's always a possibility, especially with him being really good friends with Michael Harris.
Real quick, Lawrence Butler, Ryan. What do you think?
He would be a lot cheaper. I think
Yeah.
Oakland would. I would think Oakland would say, "Hey, if you take this contract, which by the way, his contract's not terrible. I think if we sent a singular pitching prospect, you can probably get that deal done." And I would bank on the fact that there's a better Lawrence Butler in there here. So I want to take a look back at 25. His Savant isn't beautiful, but I mean it's a whole lot better than it was this year. And you can see in 24 it was pretty good as well. So we know there's more in the tank, and it's not like he's old. He's 26 years old. We saw Michael Harris kind of go through the same thing, and I think he doesn't chase the baseball. He's just swinging a lot. So that tells me that there's a mechanical issue going on with his swing, and that they just haven't figured it out yet in Oakland. So I would be curious if AA doesn't take a shot in the dark on this one and say, hey, we'll send you a Owen Murphy or a J.R. Ritchie, and we'll take this contract off your hands. I'd be curious about that because I don't think he makes a ton of money. So,
Aaron, you were asking, you wondering who the A's might be sniffing around about and who they might be interested in. This was the guy that I come up with. This is like a 2021 Alex patented move by somebody low. And if he turns back to 2024 game, we've got our left fielder for sure, even for the future. What do you think about Lawrence Butler?
Well, you guys have just sold me on him, especially with looking at that 2024 Savant page. It feels very AA coded, like you said. And also, we can fix him. We've done it before. So I like that idea.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody was wanting to know, and I said, "Well, I'm doing a trade deadline podcast. Y'all got to listen to us. I'm tired of giving you the stuff." 7 years, 65. He's very affordable. Look at this, 8 million a year, 5 million a year. Come on, this looks like the patented AA move. When I heard A's sniffing around the Braves, I didn't go Soderstrom. I went Butler. I said, this looks like could get Lawrence Butler and buy low. Because here's the deal: you could get. I'm not trying to get Eli White. He's a really good guy and great player, but Eli White could go in this deal to Oakland, and it'd be just swapping the outfielders. And I wouldn't even have to go J.R. Richard. You probably could go a lower pitcher. They would take again, they're like Miami. They want to buy and build their players. So somebody from Augusta or Rome. I've been trying to get Sennard. I think he's going to be a good bullpen piece. He just come back off the IL today, so I'm just saying Lawrence Butler could be a Braves. What I'm saying by August 3rd, because that just seems like an AA move. All right, we'll move on to the Twins and the Diamondbacks. Weird teams. I don't even know what the Twins did. Now Byron Buxton he tried to go today with his hip, Ryan. He couldn't do it. He played like 3 or 4 innings, had to come off the field. I think this should signify to the Twins you got to sell, and you got to sell Cody Clemens, and you got to sell Ryan Jeffers at least, and probably the Rogers in the bullpen. At least those three have got to go and get you some pieces back, in my opinion. And I do think that Cody Clemens can match with us a little bit. Again, he's a left-handed bat, so it doesn't really work. If you wanted Jeffers to DH, I guess Jeffers could. Ryan, what do you think about the Twins?
Jeffers actually might be in play if the Braves are interested in carrying 3 catchers and rotating 3 catchers. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, but Twins need to sell. I've been saying it for a while. I know they were going to try the buy and sell technique, but I mean they got a minus 27 run differential. They're playing in one of the American League's just not very good, and you're still not at 500 right now. Even if you get in the playoffs, I know Twins fans would just love to make the playoffs, but it's realistically 2 more games in the wild card, and then you get bounced by the better team. So is that really worth you going out and buying pieces and getting rid of your farm system for 2 games? Probably not. So you need to sell Jeffers, Joe Ryan. You got to find a deal for Joe Ryan. This is the time you need to sell Joe because he's a free agent after the 27 season. So the team, if you sell now, you get a year and a half of Joe Ryan. It's not just a rental, so you're going to get more for him. But if you hold on to him and you don't sell him this trade deadline, then he's a pure rental, and teams aren't going to be willing to do as much. So you might want to get on the phone with Joe Ryan. That's all I'm going to say. And you got some nice bullpen pieces that teams would be calling on too. So you guys could really restock your farm system and then be a really good team in 2 or 3 years and give the White Sox, who are going to be a problem, a run for their money.
Yeah, we'll get to. I got a question for the Aaron. She does a good job in transfer. We'll let Andrew take the Diamondbacks of all the teams in baseball. Andrew, I think the one team that should just stand pat and see what happens are the Arizona Diamondbacks, because I don't think they have a lot to sell, and I don't think they can buy anything and move the needle. They just going to have to hope that core somehow gets them into the playoffs, get them a playoff game. Yeah, we'll shake Torey Lovello's hand again, and then try to address it in the off season. What are your thoughts on the Diamondbacks?
I am so confused on where the Diamondbacks could go. I mean, they don't have much, like you said, they don't have much to sell. They don't have much to buy with. So, it's just stay pat, guys. You guys can, your offense can get you into the postseason, and they can win you a series. Your pitching could also get you guys out of the postseason. So, just stay pat. You got nothing else to do, really.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why Cattell Marte is upset. Do it unfollow. He can see this coming. I'd be surprised if they hadn't already told the team we're staying pat, and Cattell got upset and decided to unfollow everybody. I don't think Cattell Marte is going anywhere. They'll address this in the offseason. Let's go to your favorite team in the American League, Aaron. Minnesota Twins. All right, so the Minnesota Twins are very interesting in the fact that they should sell. Ryan brought up the point I'm going to make. Shouldn't you have to sell because you know how good the White Sox are fixing to be in 2 years? And you do not have the team that can catch the White Sox in 2 years, in my opinion. What about yours?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I get it how close they are in the race, but it's a crappy race. Like you're not a good playing team. You're not a good performing team. You've been dealt a hand where you're getting close to the wild card because the entire American League is a disaster. And I wish they would just grasp that fact and, like Ryan said, go ahead and move Joe Ryan while you can get maximum value for him, because this whole little we want to get to the playoffs thing, it's not worth it. It's not worth it in the long run if you want to be a winning team again and purely like rebuild your team. That it would be for nothing. Like just go ahead and sell and get some valuable pieces to rebuild. I think that they need to just accept that they need to enter a full rebuild. Plain and simple.
100%. And when you find out that Joe Ryan could have went for Peyton Toley, Bennett, and Ely, who they just traded, but those three pitchers could have went back to Minnesota. What was Minnesota thinking? They should have pulled that trigger on that big time. All right, let's go to one other team before we address the elephant in the room. The other team is the Cardinals. They're a weird team. The Cardinals are in playoff contention. They definitely don't want to go for it. Their payroll, they've lowered their payroll. They have really good young players for the future. J.J. Weatherholt, Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn. Their young starters are doing well too. So with that sale, they're going to stand pat. But Feinstein brought up a good thing in his article, Aaron, today. He said Ivan Herrera or Pages should be traded. You'll get some for either one of them because everybody needs a catcher. And he says Dustin May has to go. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I tend to agree with that for sure. And with the pitching market, I think it is in their best interest to listen on Dustin May offers simply because most of the contenders need starting pitching. So I agree with that. I think they should try to sell those pieces
Yeah, I do
at the
too. Ryan,
least.
yeah, Ryan, what do you think? I think Dustin May and probably Ivan Herrera bring them back more. They probably have to go.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know how much they truly believe in Ivan Herrera being their future catcher. I mean, Stefan's not terrible, right? And the catching market is sure pretty thin, so he would fetch you a decent price. I'm not saying you're going to get two top 10 prospects, but you might get one, and you might get a mid-tier prospect. He's got a 743 OPS. He's getting on base at a pretty good clip at 364, so, and he's been a decent catcher. But I don't know. The one that's got to go is Dustin May. People need pitching. Dustin May has high upside with the stuff that he has. I don't think there's no reason for you to hang on to Dustin May when you can just get a random number 5 starting pitcher back in the deal to innings for you, and you can get probably at least one prospect in the deal. I don't think you're going to get anything that's going to break the market, but you're going to get probably a number like anywhere from a 25 to 15 prospect for him, and I think that would be as good as you're going to get. So I think they need to sell a couple pieces, even maybe JoJo Romero out of the bullpen. Riley O'Brien probably not going to go anywhere. He's under club control for a while, but I can see them also shipping out one of the bullpen pieces. So they do have some stuff they could sell, but I could also see them just standing pat completely.
All right, Andrew, you get the tough question. Would you take a flyer on either Dustin May or JoJo Romero? They seem to be the two guys that could fit with the Braves. Dustin would be, of course, a 4 or 5 starter, another one of those, but he actually is probably better than some of our 4 or 5 starters, to be honest with you. And then JoJo Romero could be another left-hander, and he is better than Danny Young, so you'd have really 3 good left-handers in the bullpen. Andrew, interest in JoJo Romero and Dustin May?
Oh, I'd certainly be interested in both. Like you said, Dustin May could be probably number three, number four at best in our rotation right now, and then JoJo Romero has got a really good fastball from the left side that I think would play really well, and like you said, is a lot better than Danny Young. So I think we ought to be taking our chances on both of them, especially Dustin May would be a little bit of a cheaper option on the starting pitching market, just if the market is just absolutely outrageous. That may be something where someone AA takes a look at.
Yeah, dive into the Nationals because the Nationals seem like a team that doesn't want to chase it this year. But if they did, we just mentioned a lot of relief pitchers they could probably go get. JoJo Romero, some of them to help that bullpen. All right, so the elephant in the room is the Tigers and the Orioles. The Tigers and Orioles are playing each other right now. One beat the snot out of one of them yesterday, and the other one beat the snot out of the other one tonight. So they're just both knocking each other out of the playoff hunt and me. We won't get to the pitching matchup tomorrow. Don't jump the gun, guys. Let's go to the other guys. We got Casey Mize. We got was it Melton or Helton, the young relief pitcher? He's had a great year, by the way, Ryan. If you can find his savant, I think he's patented for the Braves. I'm trying to find moves AJ may like. He's one I like coming from them. Rogers and that crew in Baltimore, they got good starting pitcher. I don't think they're going to trade Young or Baz because they got him signed. They do have some relief pitchers. Kittredge would be the one. Ryan brought up Jackson Holiday, taking a flyer on him. They're going to shop him, and you maybe put him in the outfield as well and move him around the infield. Aaron, any rest other than the 2 big pitchers, Scooble and Roger? Anybody else interest you in the Tigers and Orioles for the Braves?
Well, obviously Casey Mize from the Tigers, and then Troy Melton. I mean, he looks decent, and I mean, he would be a rental. But what would the cost be for that? Would it be outrageous? I'm not super familiar with his um, value. Would we be giving up multiple top 10 prospects or
Maybe
okay.
just be one because it's a relief pitcher and he's a rental, so you would only have to give up one. So would you go?
Yeah.
Would you go a prospect for Melton?
I like that deal then.
Yeah, Rhino. That seems the guy. I'm trying to do AA right here. Not going for the gusto. I got Lawrence Butler, and then Melton seems like a good fit for us, Ryan.
Milton would be very nice. I don't know if I go top 10. I might lean top 15 though for Troy Melton, but I wouldn't give up any more. If you're going to get a number 15 prospect or so, you're probably that's all you're going to get from me. I don't because I think there are other bullpen options that might not be as good, but that will be just as serviceable. And if I really want to give up a top 10, I go out to San Diego and say, give me Morejon. Which one of these top 10 do you want? I think Morejon's the one game changer that we have. I would be interested in Mr. Casey Mize, though. Casey Mize got a pretty good savant page. He's not going to cost as much as Tarek Skubal, and the Tigers need to get rid of some of these guys that are rentals. It just doesn't make sense for them to keep going for it at this point. So I would hope that we would be having some conversations about definitely Mize, Melton. I don't know about any of the other guys that they would have. I don't think anybody else really fits us, but those two are definitely very intriguing if you're Alex Anthopoulos.
I can't find anybody else on that team that fits us, Andrew. Here's the deal. We get Reynolds. I think we want to try to re-sign him. Casey Mize went to Auburn, and we all know that. Casey was liable to sign an extension when he got here. Andrew, any interested in Casey Mize and also Melton?
Oh yeah, certainly. Casey Mize would certainly be an option. I think he would be somebody that would like to maybe come back and re-sign with Atlanta if he's suitable. He'd be a good number 3 option for this rotation where we currently stand. And if we go back to his days at Auburn, he was a big game pitcher. He pitched well in the playoffs the last couple of years for the Tigers, and I think he'd be a good option here. Melton would be a great option too. We need another arm in the bullpen. It doesn't matter if it's left-handed or right-handed. I prefer a lefty, but AA's adding to the bullpen. You trying to make the team better. You can't complain there. But one of those two guys would be great.
I agree. Hey, Ryan, can you put Casey Mize' Savant back up there? This looks like a number 2 to me, Andrew, in our rotation. What do you think, Ryan, real quick, before we jump on these other two starters? I think Casey Mize in our rotation would probably be a number 2.
Yeah, he'd be starting game 2 of the playoffs if we had Casey Mize and nobody else. I would agree. Even if you go with Casey Mize and you had Michael Wacha, I think he is your number 2. Wacha would be your number 3.
I do too. All right, so let's get to the big pitching matchup tomorrow. Tarek Skubal, Trevor Rogers. All right, they're both rentals, but they are going to cost multiple prospects because they're at the top of this market. All right, here's your question. You can talk about how you want to about both pitchers. We'll start with Aaron. Do you think both of them will stay with their teams? Only one of them will stay with their team? You name which one? Or you think both of them are gone by August 3rd?
I think Rogers is going to stay. Skubal, his last game with the Tigers is tomorrow.
All right, Ryan. What do you think?
I think Rogers is gone. My heart says that I'm telling you the Tigers need to get rid of him. I don't think they do. I think they're going to be stubborn. I think they keep him, and I think they try to ride it to the postseason one more time.
Andrew, what do you
They're
think?
both gone. I think they're both going to go. It's just hard for me to. It's hard for me to think that they don't. If both teams are smart, because they both could get really good pieces back.
Yeah, here's the deal. I'm going back to Ryan on this. I think Rogers, if Baltimore keeps Rogers as they go down through the season, he's the more likely to go ahead and sign a long-term deal for next year because they've already signed 2 of their pitchers, where Skubal has no shot for the Tigers. So I lean more Skubal's gone, Rogers may stay. Does that influence you at all, Ryan, that it may go swap the other way?
No. I don't. I just reading. Look, I'm not in the front office of the Detroit Tigers, right? But I gotta imagine somebody's offered them a decent amount of players for Skubal by now. But Rogers, I can kind of see where there wasn't a whole lot of fire early in the season because he was stinky, and now he's finally starting to pick it up and pitching pretty well. And this is what teams are going to use, saying, hey, X, Y, and Z is not very good. He's not as good as a pitcher. We're not going to give you as good of a prospect. So I can see him being cheaper. Skubal, Savant is absolutely ridiculous. There is going to be no shortchange in the Tigers and what they're asking for. So I just see the Tigers standing pat almost. I think they may add a piece or two. I just don't see them selling. I think they should. I think if they were smart, they would definitely sell some pieces. I just don't think they're smart for whatever reason. But the Orioles, I think if they were smart as well, they would get rid of Rogers because I don't know how much of this is going to be him long term or if it's just him getting really, really hot down the stretch. He had a great year last year, but that was his first really, really good season in his entire career. So I think both teams need to sell. I only think one does.
I'm going to say both of them sell. I think they're both gone. We'll see. All right, so we have 2 big Braves questions to ask you. So I kind of hinted at all this. So which way do you think you would be the happiest? Okay, we'll start with you, Andrew. Would you be happier with Soderstrom, Waka, and, I don't know, Sam Moll? Let's just throw him out there as a left-handed reliever. Okay? Or would you be happier with Lawrence Butler, Troy Melton, and Tarek Skubal? Which would you consider the better trade deadline? Soderstrom, Waka, Moll, or Butler, Melton, Skubal?
Man, put me on the spot early. Shoot. Screw it. We're going Skubal.
You're such a rookie. You're such a daggum rookie, Andrew.
You say that, but then you put down Chris Sale and Tarek Skubal right there, 1-2 punch. Who's gonna beat that? Who is beating that?
Dodgers.
No.
They're not no.
No.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing in the playoffs. You're banking on Scooble and Sale not fucking up at all.
And I'm going to take that bet over Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki because they don't have another starter right now.
It's not going to be Roki. It's going to be Yamamoto. It's going to be Glasnow. It's going to be Snell.
We haven't seen Snell since May.
How great was Snell last year?
He pitched pretty decent in the postseason for them. He did. He pitched well.
We haven't seen him since Snell, and the last time we faced him,
there's a reason why they're making sure he's healthy for October. They know they're in October. He's gonna be there.
Sure they know it. But then you can go get the best pitcher in baseball. There you go, right there. That's not a rookie move. You're telling somebody you got a chance to go win 2 World Series in 5 years. You go fucking do it. Go bring Tarek Skubal and go win another year. We'll go another ring.
Here's the deal. This is what they're doing in the front office right now, Aaron. This is the tough decision they got to make. I think they only have 2 options. They can either go big on one big one and go small on the other 2, or they got to go across the board with a 3. Which one would you rather have? You rather have Skubal, Butler, Melton, or would you rather have Waka, Soderstrom? I just put Mole out there. Let's just put Mole out there.
I am doing Skubal, Butler, Melton because those are the 3 pieces that we need. Skubal is an impact starting pitcher, and then Melton we can almost certainly get on an extension if we decide to. Skubal, I don't know. And then Butler has a long contract, and like I said earlier, we can fix him. Yes, that's a no-brainer for me.
All right, Ryan, you got to sell it the other way. You're the one going the other way.
Michael Wacha's been fantastic this year, and he's been solid for the last couple of years. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to be your solid number 2, number 3. Plus, his prospect capital is not going to be as much. You can also go get another 2 or 3. Hint, Casey Mize as well. I would also say that Soderstrom is a much better bat right now. He's also locked up to another long-term contract, so you get that solved in left field, and you can ship Profar, DFA, and whatever you want to do. Who was the other piece you gave? Sam Mole?
Just a little matter. We can get any kind of reliever. We can pick any kind of reliever.
Whatever.
I tell you what. I'll give you a different one. I know one that's going to be on the market. We pick up Matsui, San Diego.
Matsui, absolutely. I will throw that in. It's not going to cost you as much, and it leaves you more prospect capital, and it's not going to hurt because Michael Wacha is going to be back the next year. You're going to have Schwellenbach as a healthy number 2. You're going to have A.J. Smith-Shawver fully healthy. You're going to have a legitimate rotation for multiple years afterwards. I'm not banking on, okay, I got to have Skubal and Sale shoved day every single day where they're likely going to screw up at least one game in the playoffs, and then you don't know what you're going to get from your game 3 starter, game 4 starter. And I also think, especially in the postseason, A.J. Smith-Shawver throws 3. Grant Holmes comes in and throws 3. I like that setup better, and it sets you up better for the long-term future, and you get just as good as a playoff run, in my opinion. Maybe even better because you got a better offense.
They're both good trades, and that's what the Braves. Ryan cheated; he went and got another starter in his trade. I said, you
get better.
Like
you have more prospects to go do.
I'm saying in this market, the numbers are going to be so low, you're probably not going to be able to get 4. You get 3. I'll say both of them works. What sells Ryan's is that you know what you get with those 3. What sells Aaron and Andrews is you're buying on the high side. You're really buying on the high side. And if Butler starts performing, automatically that flips to a better trade. Even Ryan have to agree with that. If all of a sudden Butler performs and Melton, like she said, signs an extension and he shoves in the bullpen, you do have the best pitcher in baseball, one of the best pitchers in baseball. So I can sell both of them.
And which is why I go do it.
I told him I do Ryan's. So I do Ryan's too. So I tell AA it's got to be something like that. So your last question to get out of here is this. Who is going to be, first of all, Aaron, how many are we going to get? How many trades are we going to make? Who is going most likely to go out of the farm system to make one of these deals? That's your 2 questions, isn't it? 1A and 1B.
Okay, so I am about to be covering this later this week, but I say, obviously we want the impact starter, but I think realistically and more responsibly, we get two starters that are more like a 2 through 4 type guy, something like Reed Detmers, Michael Waka. That would suffice. I'd be happy with that. And then hopefully pick up a bat and then a bullpen, one bullpen upgrade, whatever you want to call it. It could be Melton. I like AJ Minter to come back, something like that. That would be the dream. But realistically, I think we'd be lucky to get one or two of those things with the state of the market today. Now, that could change in literally 2 hours. We don't know. And then as for the prospects, I think the first one that I see going is J.R. Ritchie for sure. And I don't see Eric Hartman or Tate Southesine or Cam Kennedy moving unless it is for a extremely impactful player. And, probably one that has team control. Now, where we would find that, the only thing that comes to mind is Joe Ryan if they decide to move him. So the chances of those three getting moved to me doesn't seem very likely. Now, the ones I could see moving, Alex Lodis, maybe John Hill, but then again, he might be the future of the Braves infield, so it's hard to say. Then the lower level guys like maybe Cody Miller, but like the big name prospects, it doesn't seem likely to me unless we're doing something big.
So the question is, who's the most likely to get traded that was the question in the farm system. Who you think is the most likely to go? He's gone. He's not going to be playing in the Braves organization on August 4th. You can only pick
Oh,
one.
Lodis.
Lodies. Andrew, what deals? How many deals we make? What do you think? And who's the most likely to go? Don't go back into the list because she hit the whole list. That's exactly how it's going to be. It's going to take a major deal for some of those guys to go. And the untouchable, let me go get this out here one more time. We keep telling you on this podcast, is Didier Fuentes. He's the untouchable. He's not going anywhere. Andrew, what you got?
I think the Atlanta Braves will acquire three new players, whether that's in two trades or three. Um, I'm not going to put any predictions out there as we kind of just discussed with our last question. And then the most likely player I think gets traded, Aaron went low D, so I'm going to go Owen Murphy.
Oh, he may get traded. All right, Ryan, what do you think?
Juanipo.
Okay.
I
How
think
many trades we
Juanipo.
going to
I
make?
like Lodis is already taken. Owen Murphy. Those were my first two. Juanipo, I think, is the third most likely. I think you see all three of them move.
How many trades you going to make?
Ooh, give me four. I need
Okay.
two starters. I need a bat, and I need a reliever. I'm making 4 trades.
I'm going to go. We definitely make 2 trades. And this in this market right now, everything we're hearing, and I'm going to go uh, that we're going to get a starter, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't just get 2 starters. Alcantara being added to the market intrigues me now. If we get Alcantara and Detmers or Alcantara and Rogers, or God bless Alcantara and Scooble, forget it. We're going to go win the World Series. We'll figure out a way to score runs. I promise you. 2-7 and 1-3 will get going, and we'll score runs. 100%. All right. We got to talk about one trade. We got to get out of here. The one trade is the reason why everybody's going to be scared to make trades. The last question of the night, Aaron. The one trade we had this week, Conley Ely got traded for Curtis Mead tonight. Curtis Mead got drilled with a fastball. He's probably going to be out maybe for the most of the rest of the season. Spencer Steer, he got drilled. He's going to be out for most of the season. It's scary to let go of your prospects. If you're the GM, do you take into consideration on how much you give up knowing players can get hurt?
I mean, I feel like that comes with the territory of being a Major League Baseball player. It's certainly terrible luck that the first night, Connor Mead, right, is with the Red Sox,
Curtis
that he
Mead.
gets injured. Curtis,
Curtis.
sorry. Um, yeah, so I mean that seems like a almost freak accident kind of thing. But I mean, I think you would take it into consideration slightly. but at the same time, it comes with the territory. It's not something that I would be looking heavily at unless there's a history of injury involved and it has impacted performance, over the past couple of years.
Andrew, because this is part of. I know Ryan's going to sell this on his reason why he would go the other way, not the Scooble trade. As a GM, you have to take into account. He said his elbow bothered him. Do you just spit on Scooble, worried that if you get him and he doesn't pitch, now you just screwed everything up?
I mean, I certainly think that's in Alex's mind, and it's it's certainly something that you have to think about because what if he does go out there for say we get Scooble and he goes out there in the first inning and hurts his elbow, then you're really screwed. But that's a tough question right there, and um, it's going to depend on what and how we really want to go with this, and certain all the factors got to be taken into place.
Yeah, and that's the reason I lean more to Ryan getting the two quality pitchers and then bat over Scooble. I'd love to have Tarek Scooble, but Ryan, tell him, do you really want two pitchers that both have some injury concerns? I mean, we're trying to hold Chris Sale to get into the postseason. Is that really the route you want to go, is Sale and Scooble? Even though it sounds great, there's a big risk in that, isn't there?
It sounds absolutely beautiful, right? Like top two. I mean, you got 1 and 1A going in your October rotation if they both get there. That's the big question. So that's why I don't lean that way. But I think you only take injury consideration or into consideration if it's relatively recent, such as a Scooble, or if they're coming off an ACL or something like that. I don't think you can really count in, the freak injury or, somebody who might potentially tear an ACL or somebody who might have a broken wrist because he plays every day. Those things happen. You can't control them. But if there is, like Aaron said, if there's an injury history that is limiting their production, I think you definitely take that into consideration. So I wouldn't necessarily be giving up the farm for Tarek Skubal for 2 months and 8 to 10 starts depending on how deep we go into the postseason. So that's just my feeling on it.
Dude, it's also why you got to halt on Joe Ryan because Joe Ryan did come out of his last start not feeling well. All right, we're going to get out of here. Brace Country, we love you. Get a final thought here. Aaron, what's your final thought on trade deadline? We got a surprise coming to y'all for next week, but we're not leaking it all until the last second. So what is your final thought tonight?
I'm ready for some action and some drama. That's my favorite part of the deadline. So hopefully it happens soon.
If it is, I don't know what this boy is going to do texting me. He texts me like we already made a trade every day. Andrew, what's your final thought tonight?
I'm just ready, waiting for the action to get going. It should be fun. And who's going to be the first team to pull the trigger on selling their first player? I'm interested in seeing who that's going to be.
That'll be my final thought. I'll get with Ryan here. Ryan, I'm also the same way. Which one of these teams in the middle are going to be the first one to wave the right flag? That's what I'm looking for. Which one you can finally see where they go, that's it, we're out. That would be Rogers gets traded tomorrow, and then Baltimore's out. Ryan, what's your final thought?
I'm ready for the deadline to be over. I'm ready to see what moves we make because I am tired of talking trades right now.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been fun for the last 6 weeks, however long we've been doing it. But this has been one of the, more scarce deadlines that I remember. Normally there's some pre-action going into it, and it has been so daggum slow. I hope the floodgates break loose soon, and I hope everybody has some action to talk about instead of hypotheticals because I'm tired of hypotheticals.
Yes.
We're getting out of here. And that's the American League's fault, guys. American League can't figure out who's a good team. That's cost everybody in baseball. All right, we love you, Brace Country. We're going to get out of here. And as always, peace.
You know what, boys? You guys are going to be world champions for the rest of your life.